extraction, carbon sequestration, pyrolysis, byproducts, oil, chemicals, aqueous medium, different pollutants whichever come out from them and their applications, right? So today we are going to focus on chemicals which we can extract or which we can prepare. This is not extraction, so this is not a direct extraction. Here we are going to prepare the chemicals from the biomass whichever readily available in the environment and which we are considering as, like during my earlier session also I have covered affecting one of the material which is going to extract and having different applications. Similar way here also we are going to see one more compound such as lignin basically. So we already discussed about cellulose and hemicellulose and their applications. And if we see paper industry, so most of the cellulose whichever extract from the wood they will use for paper making, and the remaining lignin part what we are doing currently. What is the application of lignin as of today, or how we are managing it? So if we see that we are just setting it for combustion and there is no other applications, we are using it for energy generation purpose. But apart from that, we can modify that lignin compound into a value added material such as solvent, edible product, like chemical product, and why we like. So these are the different value added materials can be generated from that waste lignin. So this is the topic today. And now can we think why we need to generate these chemicals from this lignin? Is it necessary to our country? Because whenever we go for any funding or any research, we need to think what might be the applicability and what is the benefit to our nation. Because whichever research we are doing, everything is from the public fund, right? So whichever government fund we are receiving, that is public money. So whenever we do our research, in the similar way we need to pay back to them, right? So now why we need to concentrate on this lignin? So first thing is one more like environmental concern. Means whichever waste generating from this paper industry, if we throw them or if we burn them, like under uncontrolled condition, if we go for open burning, obviously it will create environmental pollution. Apart from environmental aspect, what might be the another thing? Why we need to convert this lignin into chemical compound? What is the need of that study?
Resource, like we are
very good. It has the potential to act as a resource. Then other than that, so if we don't go for lignin, then what is the current trend? First suppose if I say X metal, X solvent or X chemical which are extracting or converting from the lignin, then what is the status today? What we are like, where we are getting these chemical compounds as on today in the market? So how you are or where we are getting all those chemical components? If we see the chemical industry strategy, all the solvents which were required for the processing of pharmaceutical bulk drug industries, so and food grade industries, they are importing from the different nations. So most of like, as in case of pectin also we are doing the same thing. Similar way, whichever chemicals are we have the resource of potential to generate them, but still we are importing them from the other nations. So if we continue this strategy, then where we will move towards? So it is not a sustainable development if we depend on other nations. Every nation should have their own resources and own production. So if we depend on them, then like we already faced the COVID-19 issue. So during that phase also we had so much of issue with the methanol as well as different chemical components. We are not able to import them. For that, like for those chemicals, we are depending on China. So due to international ban, we are not able to import them. So under such conditions, our production will get damaged. The production cycle will get disrupted. So that will not have show the good impact on the nation's economy. To overcome all these problems, whichever materials we are today like facing as a waste that has the potential, so that can be converted into such chemical components. So sir has already covered all those topics like different different materials and different technologies how we can convert into. But if we see this, here you can see the agriculture crop residue which we are generating, and we already know the pollution status in Delhi. So, and as we know, the open burning of all these agriculture waste creating problem, and it is having particulate matter as well as greenhouse gas emissions. So and if we the same ratio we will be generating waste as well. So if we see the waste generation, annual crop residue which we are having surplus, like some sort of agriculture residue is going for cattle feeding and some other applications, even building applications, briquette manufacturing, and even yesterday we also gone through the pellet making and carbonization. So this is very minute quantity we are processing, because this agriculture waste is like widespread. So collection and processing, like we are not having sophisticated facilities to process them. So we are not going towards this pelletization and carbonization. So the simple technique is open burning. With that we are managing, but that is not a sustainable way. So here we have this much of waste where has the potential to generate these many pollutants. And if you see the ratio as per IPCC, 1 ton of crop residue has the potential to generate 1.5 tons of CO2. Means like more than the 1:1 ratio. So here, if we go for open burning, it has a potential like as sir said earlier, he has given some examples where the carbon of the atmosphere is going to get captured by algae, right? So that the same material means the chlorophyll content, when it dries and when it goes for open burning, again it is emitting the CO2. So this is not like the carbon neutrality or carbon negativity is going to get damaged, will destructed. So here we can manage this lignin and we can first thing, the environmental problem of all these particulate matter, SOx, MOx and other gases are going to get rid of. So these are chemicals have like all these valorization techniques have discussed. So today we are going to see only the catalytic valorization of lignin compound. So what does it mean by catalytic valorization? Can anyone? What does it mean by catalytic valorization? Cellulose, hemicellulose, this part already covered, so I am not going to focus on that. So here we will see only this lignin part. So this is the small monomer of the lignin portion. If we see the lignin molecule, so lignin composition in hardwood, it will be varying from 18% to 25%. This percentage of lignin is also going to vary depending on the quality of the wood. And softwood, it will contain 28 to 33%, and herbaceous plants, it will have 17 to 24%. So here feed, and if we consider agriculture waste, where our agriculture waste will fall, most probably it will fall in the softwood. Like these are soft materials which are going to cultivate in the farmlands. So they will fall in this range. Means we have almost 1:3% of material which can be, and the thing is lignin is recalcitrant component which is not possible to degrade by biological process. So that is the disadvantage. But here by catalytic process we can degrade them and we can convert into value added components. So this is the complete polymeric structure of the lignin, where it contains 504 linkage. So every compound can be considered as a monomer. So this is the polymeric chain of lignin, and it contains 5 type of linkages. And if we break down these linkages, so can you think what can be the product? So if you cut down these linkages, then we will have the monomers means the chemical aromatic components as well as carboxylic components which can be utilized as a chemical product or edible product and which will be used as a solvent in the industry. So those chemicals also we will look into. And so this is our motto. So now we know about the problem and this is the structure. And our motto is to cut down these pieces. So how it will be possible to cut down the polymeric chain of this lignin compound? So here we are having different catalytic process where the chemical reaction is going to cut down the particular polymer at different junctions. So carbon-carbon junction or carbon-oxygen junction. So this is the carbon-carbon junction, this is the carbon-oxygen junction. So and each junction has, so here we are giving 5 different junctions which are representing with the this lignin polymer and they have the bond dissociation energy. So every component has their own energy, like even in physical state. So if I want to cut down this bottle, then it requires different energy, and if I want to cut down this plant, it requires different energy, right? So and different even material as well. So with sharp one, like the small piece of any knife, I can cut down this, but here we need some machinery to cut. So the similar way here also the breakage of bond requires they are having different bond energies to dissociate. So these are the different bond energies which are required to make them this polymeric compound into monomeric components. And one of the beautiful thing is this lignin compound, the most abundant compound is beta O4 linkage, and the bond dissociation energy is also very less. So it is only 55 to 65 kilocalories per mole. So that is the energy which requires to break down the linkage. And will it be possible to break down only this linkage beta O4, because this is not in the pure form. Whenever we extract lignin from the agriculture waste, first we will go for separation of cellulose by acid digestion, followed by alkali digestion. We will separate the lignin, and whichever remaining portion retains with the solid phase, that again goes for acidification, and further it will become as a lignin pure compound. And this lignin is a polymer. It is not having only beta O4 linkages, it also contains alpha O4, beta linkage, beta 5 linkages. This 5 represents the carbon 5 and carbon 5 of the different aromatic rings. So under such conditions, like with increasing carbon content, the breakage is becoming more hectic, and breakage of 5 linkage is very hard to break. And this is in case of different components, two catalytic components we are discussing about. And now, so if we break down these polymeric lignin compound, and if we degrade or if we break down linkages at all these 5 groups, then we will have, these are the product materials, and this can be considered as a synthetic product of the lignin. So synthetically, like whenever we start experiments, first we can do experiments with these chemical components, and followed by we can go with the real lignin compound. So if we continue this, then we will have the idea where our particular catalyst is working and which product we are getting. We will have the basic idea and clarity about the mechanism. So after that we can start working with the real lignin. If we directly start converting real lignin, then it will be more complicated, because it is not having a single linkage or single bond. It contains multiple bonds and multiple linkages. So the understanding will get different. So first we can work with these compounds, and further you can go with the realistic lignin component. So these are the different conversions already discussed, and this is particularly for the catalysis of lignin transformation, which like different ways how we can convert this lignin into different components. So if we convert them using ionic liquids, then we will have benzophenonic components. And if we go for pyrolysis, so phenol compounds, and if we go with gasification, syngas and hydrogen we will be getting. And if we go for oxidation of this lignin, then we have a chance to get valine and valinic acid. So valine means the edible product which we generally use as vanilla. So this valine which we importing today, we have the potential to produce this, but still we are depending on other countries and we are importing. And next one is acid catalysis. methoxyphenol, catechol, phenol components. So just we are breaking this polymer into smaller components, monomers. By that way we are getting all these compounds which we are importing or we are depending on other nations. That dependency will reduce and our production rate will increase by converting all these things. And base catalysis, so cerebral and catechol. And if we go for supercritical fluid, then phenolic components. And if we go for metal catalyst, then hydrocarbon and gaseous components are possible to generate from the lignin. So these are the different mechanisms and their byproducts which are possible to get from the lignin waste. And this is one of the reactor like at 215 degrees temperature under controlled conditions, under anaxic conditions, they have converted into all these monomeric components. So this is the real field sample. So as I mentioned, whenever we go for real field sample, we will get more products. Means it will break down whichever catalyst or whichever reactant we are using, it will break down wherever it wants to. And as I mentioned, energy like BO4 linkage is like it requires very less energy, so every beta O4 will get cut down, and after followed by that, if we have bunch of electron, then it is going to break down the other linkages which are present with our lignin. So then how to rectify this problem? So today we are like carrying this experimented to large scale, so we will get some synthetic sample and we will go with the synthetic sample. But we are thinking about nations, right? So when we think about nation, then and we are having environmental problem as well. So under such conditions, we need to think how we can deal with the real lignin component. So then under such pressure, which technology or which methodology will work. So if we need to go for real sample, then how to control this reaction? Because all chemical reactions we know, once we start the reaction, obviously it is moving forward, right? So like backward reactions will not be possible under this oxidation technology. So then how to control? Here we can control our mechanism to get the selected component. Here if you see, we are having list of components, but we need only vanillin because it is having high economical market and it is useful in pharmaceutical industry. It will be useful in food industry, right? And currently we are depending on others, so that dependency will reduce. Then how to get only vanillin apart from all these components? How we can, even you can see the percentage of the component. So vanillin only we are getting 30% out of the lignin degradation, lignin oxidation, and here 24%, 20%, all these different acids we are getting along with the in a mixture form. So how we can control this formation of all these monomeric components? If we control this, then can you imagine how the economy will grow up, like how the economy of India will grow? Like it will have massive growth because we are basically agriculture based industry and we are having so much of agriculture waste. So if you develop such a technology which can convert this lignin waste into a value added product, then whichever raw material is readily available, and if you pay very minor charge to them, then the waste will reach to your processing plant and you can process that waste, and further you will generate so much of economy which will enhance the growth of country. So now here with the help of photocatalytic technique, as I mentioned, this comes under catalysis technology. So here in catalysis we are also inducing the photon energy. So chemical technology like chemical catalysis can also do this processing of oxidation of the lignin, but here we are inducing the photon energy along with the catalyst. So by that way we are having control on the oxidation of lignin. That is the first part. And second part, whichever compound we are like recalcitrant compound we are considering as recalcitrant, that is also going to cut down into monomeric component. So here like we already know about the solar energy, how the solar energy works and how the solar panel works. The similar way, so here we need to use semiconducting materials to generate the electron energy, where the electrons they are going to move from valency bond to conductive bond. When the photon energy hits on the valency bond, it will excite and the electron will pass from valency bond to conductive bond. And this transformation depends on the band gap of that particular semiconducting component. So this is the, if you think this is one semiconducting component, for example, the basic semiconducting compound is TiO2, basically like widely used and widely accepted compound. And apart from that, we can also consider different components such as even ZnO also can be considered as a catalyst for photocatalytic reactions. So when it exposes to light, UV light, and this catalyst can work under UV light as well as visible light. So then how we can mimic these two reactions? Suppose today in laboratory scale we can continue with the UV reactors or UV light intensification. Then what about like in massive scale production, UV light may not be possible and your cost is also going to be more. So to reduce that, even the same catalyst can be developed to or converted into visible phase catalyst, where it has the capability to up. The only character we are going to change is the capacity of absorption of that light is going to increase. So if it absorbs UV light, then it will work under UV. So this can be decided based on simple experiment like UV visible spectrophotometer. Just by scanning we can identify whether it is absorbing UV radiation or UV light or visible light. So with that we can decide, and further experiments can be carried. So here whenever it exposes the generated electrons and hole at the valency bond, electron at the conductive bond, and now these two are available. And now is this electron if it interacts with the oxygen of our solution. So for that purpose, so whichever solvent we are using, we need to aerate that, or if it exposes to the air, then oxygen obviously it will be getting dissolved with the solvent. So whichever oxygen available within your solution, that will get converted into superoxide radical. So here superoxide radical is available, electron is available. If there is no oxygen, then where is electron going to move? It will retain with the conductive bond, and after some time it will dissociate or it will recombine with the valency. So like this is a continuous reaction. There is no restriction in between the transformation of electron. It may recombine or it may transfer to the aqueous phase where the oxygen is going to convert into superoxide. So this reaction, now we are having 4 elements, and here the reduction of photo oxidation of H2O is going to take, photo reduction of H2O2 is going to take place, and it will convert into hydroxyl radical. Now we are having 4 species which were generated from our semiconducting material. One is electron, it is reactive species. Second one is superoxide, this is also one of the reactive species. Here OH hydroxyl radical, and fourth one is hole. And all these reactive radicals, species, reactive oxidative species have the different energy levels. And now, as I discussed earlier, we are having, if we have the selective energy dissociation bond competitive radical, then we can convert polymeric compound into monomers. That is our aim. And if you see this reaction, we are having different energy levels with the different components, means the different reactive oxidative components. So if we control this mechanism, then we can beautifully cut down our polymeric compound into monomers. So then how we can control this reaction? As I mentioned, the generation of electrons or the retaining of electrons with the conductive bond without recombination, it depends on the bond gap of the particular compound. So here, as chemical engineering or mechanical engineers, they first think about the band gap of this particular catalyst while they are designing. When they go for any synthetic process, first they think how the band gap is moving towards, if it is increasing or decreasing. So ideal one is for titanium oxide, it will go from 3.0 to 2 electron volts, and for zinc it will go to 3.2 to 3.3. So this is the ideal band gap generally available. But whenever we think about selective component, selective band gap, then we need to design our experiment in such a way that where you can reduce this band gap, or if required we can extend the band gap. So that will be for homogeneous catalyst. For suppose at homogeneous stage, if it is not possible to maintain this band gap, then we need to have a catalyst with heterojunction. Means we can combine. For suppose we are having, like, we thought to use zinc oxide, because zinc oxide will be like cheaper when you compare with titanium dioxide. So zinc oxide and band gap will be more, so 3.2 to 3.3 electron volts. So but our requirement is if we reduce it into 3.0 or 3.0102. So how it will be possible? How we can reduce this? So during synthesis process, we can dope this with the any other semiconducting material which will have less band gap comparatively with zinc, and second option will be doping this zinc oxide with the conductive material. So by that way we can enhance the transformation of, because whenever band gap increases, the transformation of electrons will consume some sort of energy. So if you reduce this band gap, then you can save the energy of the electron energy which was generated. So that energy can be used to cut down the lignin compound. So while thinking about these designing of experiment, we need to see which chemical compound, which heterojunction can help us. So if we decided that, then we can move on. So as I said, we are having these reactive species, superoxide radical, even electron hole also have the capability to cut down the lignin compound, and one more species, OH radical. So if we continue with reactions, then we can prepare aromatic monomers like vanillin and all those components, alkalines and alcoholic components, ethanol, propanol, which we are importing. So all these solvents can be converted or can be generated from the waste lignin, and organic acids, formic acid, acetic acid. So here currently this one is the eye washing thing where we can have the carboxylic, like monomeric and dimeric acids, which can be utilized for different applications in the bulk drug industries. So for the bulk drug applications, we basically depending on China. So here if we produce these chemical compound, then it has so much of potential to for marketing. So this is one of the area. And benzene derivative. So benzene derivative will be like, it's very tricky thing, because in benzene derivatives we need to cut down only the aromatic ring. But in case of organic acids, you can cut down into n number of pieces. So if we cut down into, like, the basic thing is here you can see we are having aromatic ring, but here you no need to think about aromatic ring. So it can, if you use such a material to cut down this lignin into n number of pieces, so that your organic compounds like the polymer compound will convert into organic acids. So that is one of the beautiful thing where we can explore more. But the thing is, we need to think about the catalyst. Here only catalyst is going to play role. So if you select, design a suitable catalyst for this, then it will work for. And second thing is whether your catalyst is stable or unstable. If it is stable catalyst, then you can recycle it for n number of times. If it is unstable, then it is going to degrade within 2 or 3 cycles. So again, that is also one of the things. And generation of same chemical, same catalyst with the same reaction condition is not possible. Like, it will change. So because of that, titanium, it's the longest one and the older one, still we are depending on titanium, because the characteristics of titanium, every synthesis it is going to change. Means it will, whenever you change precursor, whenever we go for different controlled conditions, operational conditions, obviously the character of that catalyst is going to vary. So better to have more amount of catalyst with the same batch, so that we can process the same catalyst for n number of samples. And this is one of the catalysts which were prepared from the zinc oxide. So where the same methodology, conventional methodology, solvent methodology has been utilized, but the beauty of this catalyst is it has the porous nature where the lignin has been trapped and it has been degraded in controlled conditions. So as I mentioned earlier, it basically degrading with the controlled beta O4 linkages and converting into a single component with the highest rate of conversion. As I shown in the previous results, the percentage of vanillin is only 30%. But in this case, we are having more than that. So nearly 70 to 75% of that vanillin has been produced from the lignin compound. So just I want to show how the this new compound formation has been identified. So you can see here this is UHPLC peak where we do for organic analysis. So if you see the retention time at 0.32 to 0.39, we are having small peak at initial stage. So once we add this compound catalyst into your solution, obviously it will start interacting with your lignin compound and started reacting. And the next one, when we start the reaction under photocatalytic intensification at 3 hours, you can see the peak height. So this height gives you the concentration of that particular compound at that particular time. So you can compare with these two ones. So this is the initial one where the initial without photocatalytic reaction, the new compound formation has been identified, and the next one shows the increment of that particular compound at the same site. And with increasing time interval, you can see here, and the next one, the concentration has been increased, and the same thing continued up to 18 hours. So here you can see we are having 3 layers, and this is the extended 3 layers. So this is at 17, 16, at up to 18 hours. You can see the new compound formation at the same retention time. So which indicates the immersion ratio of that particular chemical compound indicates the oxidation of that lignin is taking place, and we are having a selective compound. So this mechanism we generally call it as selective oxidation of that particular compound. So whichever catalyst we develop, it has the capability to cut down at the selective sites. Means the energy which it gives is specifically cutting down the lignin compound. And as I said, this with once as some chemical reactions may have forward reaction, backward reactions, but here it is only the one-way reaction. There is no backward reaction. So for that we are having proof that we continued reaction up to 18 hours, and after that I retained that sample for 4 days. This is the unintentionally done experiment. I think during holidays I kept those samples in lab, and after that again I have did the analysis, repeated the analysis, and found, you can see the comparison. So this compound formation catalyst is still working without photo intensity. This catalyst have the capability to continue the reaction. So here it says that if you don't use proton energy, then also your catalyst have a capability to continue the reaction and convert the component. So the same thing happened here. The concentration of new compound has still increased, and there is no backward reaction. So if backward reaction happens, then it is not suitable for industrialization. So if you continue the reaction, if you leave the solution for separation or some other purpose, then also your compound formation is going to continue, and it will not again recombination or oxidation or reduction of compound is not going to take place. The original compound will be retaining within your solution. Here you can see this is the initial lignin component which we have used. So the retention time is nearly 4.5, and here you can see the final analysis of that same sample. So and here there is no peak which were we identified at initial stage. So this is the initial peak, means the lignin compound which identified at 4.5 retention time, and the second one is the final analysis means 18 hour after 18-hour analysis, where the new compound, like the total compound has been shifted from reduction time of 4.2 to 0.33 means, and M by Z ratio is also going to change. So this represents 150 M by Z ratio selectively, the selective components. And here you can, like with this pictorial view, we can say the compound conversion or compound formation is very selective and suitable. Means like if you target with, if you go for this reaction, then we can generate only the selective target compound from the polymeric chain of lignin. So with this, like this is the industrial, this is the lab scale studies which we carried. But the same thing, if we continue with the semi-pilot, then it can be continued up to the pilot scale levels. And as I am mentioning, along with compound conversion, new compound formation concentration has also identified. So here, if you see this orange peak, we are having highest conversion with the concentration of 0.75 gram per liter. And compound formation, you can see this pink line. So with increasing this one, the compound concentration has also increased. And somehow here, like it is having like different trend. It might be some because of uninterrupted oxidation state, like uninterruption, or maybe because of different other oxidation radicals, oxidizing radicals which are releasing into our, which are participating into the reaction. But after that, the continuous conformation has been carried even up to 24 hours, like it is going to get with the stable production. So the conversion of lignin into new product has been continued up to 24 hours. Still there is no deactivation of catalyst, even without photo intensification also it is working towards the conversion of depolymerization of lignin at selective site. The beauty of this research is it is going to cut down the compound at the selective sites. And now, as I said, we need to control the reaction. Means we are having 4 oxidation species which are generating in the reaction, and if we control them, then obviously our reaction is going to control and the selective species. So as have shown here, we are having somehow decline in the conversion, but conversion is taking place, but new compound formation has been declining. Means some reaction, some reactant involving or disturbing the conversion into new compound. So to identify this, I have also done the quenching reactions where we can control the different oxidative species, and by that way we can identify which species is responsible for this conversion. So here we identified superoxide radical is the responsible species where it is going to help for the conversion of this particular lignin into selective compound. So we see this graph so this is the new product formation. So conversion, like at all reactions you are having respective conversion rate, but if you see the new product formation, only we are having new product formation with 2 reactions, means without any quenching reagent we are having new product formation. Means we might be having 4 different oxidative species, they are participating in the reaction, so it is going to have their conversion rate. And the second one is with hydroxyl scavenger. So with hydroxyl scavenger, scavenger means the hydroxyl component is going to convert into water with the help of isopropyl alcohol. So in the same reaction, during the reaction we will add some sort of alcoholic species, so which can react with the hydroxyl species which were generated from the photocatalytic reaction, and because of that it will become OH radical will become as H2O molecule. So if it converts into H2O, then it is no more available for the reaction. So here we are controlling that. So means when we control that, the remaining compounds, so here the remaining species is superoxide which generated from the O2 to superoxide. So that superoxide is continuously generating. So because of that, new product formation has been identified with our reaction. And the next quenching agent is superoxide radical. So for superoxide, we have used benzoquinone, where benzoquinone is going to associate with the superoxide and it will convert into again oxygen. So when we use this superoxide scavenger, so there is no formation of new product. So with this reactions, we came to know the reactive species which is involving in the oxidation of this lignin at selective site is superoxide species. So this is the controlled species. If we specifically generate this, then we can design our experiment to get the selective product. So that's how it has been carried, and we have generated vanillic acid into 65 to 70% yield. So again the purification we can get the 99% pure compound, but the thing is, and still it will have, like, it is having some sort of designing or developmental aspects, so where we can enhance the production, because here the conversion rate is 99%, but we are yielding only 60%, means 30% loss still we are having. So if we control that 30%, then we can yield the good amount of aniline with the pure compound. If we go for, like, when we enhance the concentration of this particular selective compound, obviously your impurities will get reduced, right? So that is the one of the good thing, where we can convert the whole lignin, whichever we are considering as waste, can be converted into value added chemical compound. Here we are converting into chemical, like different solvents or different food grade components. And if we see that vanillin having pharmaceutical applications, where it is, and this will be used for flavoring purpose or additive component, and next household applications, and for different synthetic processes. So whichever chemical we are, the vanillin which we produce from this lignin have different synthetic applications in the pharmaceutical industry, and food flavorants which will be used in the bakery applications. So these are the different applications which can be generated, which the material which can be generated from the waste and the product. Currently we are considering it as waste as well as environmental problem, but it has the potential to convert them into different chemicals as well as solvents. So that is the thing, but only the backbone of this study or the conversion is we need to design the selective catalyst, then only it is going to have the selective breakage or selective oxidation of your lignin polymeric compound. By that way we can generate it into selective compounds. So this is how the waste biomass can be converted into different value added components. So is there any questions? I will be happy to. Is this fine? Yes, please.
So apart from the 30% loss which is occurring because of some chemical, so any kind of doping or modification is possible for enhancing the yield?
Obviously, it is possible when we go for designing of the catalyst. And the second thing is light which we are using. So at selective wavelength, we have a capability to generate. It enhances the selective oxidation species. So if we are using 365 nanometers with the selective range, with the filter, like exact filtration rate, then we will generate the selective oxidation species under catalyst, like design catalyst. So by that way we can enhance our yield. So whichever we are saying, like 60 to the gap 30%, we can reach up to 80% such that. But still we are having aqueous medium, so whenever we go for all these controlled conditions, still there is a problem with the oxidation species. So sometimes it may excite more. So by intensity, if intensity changes, then obviously your electron bunch is also going to change. Like the energy will differ. So if the energy differs, then obviously the breakage is also going to be uncontrolled. So sometimes if you are having 70 kilocalorie per mole, so if you have that much of energy, then it will go to the next linkage, because whenever we have high energy, then we go to the higher selective sites. But the lower one obviously is going to degrade. Obviously it is going to get oxidized. We will cleave that linkage, but the same way it will cleave the another linkage. So that can be controlled. That can controlled by intensity of the light and wavelength of light and the catalyst. So these three are the major play roles in our photocatalysis process.
So sir, is there any other comparable method apart from this photocatalysis?
And so many catalysis methods are already available. Catalysis is already available. The problem is in catalysis process, like it is not possible to control. So once we start the catalysis, then it will catalyze into, moreover it is going to create the acid components. Means selective aromatic compound, like it's very less to have in our sample at the end of the reaction. But in photocatalysis, we have an advantage. We can generate the selective species, selective radical species. So that is the advantage of this photocatalysis. Even catalysis process have like different, it can generate so many components, but like the selectiveness is going to change. Because if we target one compound out of this polymer, then it will give you good economical values, and it will have the even purity as well. So whenever your yield increases, obviously the remaining compounds are going to get down. So by that way you can reduce the, first suppose here, as I said, superoxide radical helping us. First suppose superoxide radical is not participating in the reaction and only the reactive species is OH radical. Then how we can control? During early stage, like I have mentioned, if we use aqueous medium, if we allow air into our medium, then only oxygen species is going to exist with our system. So if you create anaxic system and if you use organic solvent, then oxygen, like without oxygen, then you can mimic the generation of the superoxide and you can reduce the generation of superoxide. You can have only hydroxyl radical in your system. So by that way also we can control. But in this reaction we are having, like we have proven, superoxide is acting as a selective catalyst, as a selective radical species. So by that way also we can control the conversion rate and we can enhance the yield. Thank you.